which is slightly different than those things I normally do. But I thought I couldn't really leave this one go unmentioned. As always, if you've got any questions, then please put them into the the question part. Doesn't have to be about the subject I'm actually speaking on. And so Tucker Carlson was in Moscow, and I know a number of people have made comments on what he was actually doing there. And in this presentation, I intend to have a look at what he was actually talking about. Now, one thing which is very important to say is that I'm not going to deal with some of the things that Putin said. I think I might deal with that in a different video. Carlson said that he went to Moscow because he wanted to interview the other side in the conflict, and that nobody else has done this. Well, there's a very good reason why nobody else did this. It's because the fascist regime in Moscow wouldn't permit anybody else to do that. Indeed, it arrests people, journalists, and it forces others to leave. That is why if you watch Deutsche Welle, for example, you'll say that Deutsche Welle is now based, I think it's in Estonia, or BBC, or if it MSNBC or whatever, then there aren't foreign journalists. Also, a Wall Street Journal, for example, or New York Times, or Washington Post, or whatever. Even things which might have been on the, further to the right in politics, such as the Daily Telegraph, or something like even GB News, which is another sort of propaganda channel, wouldn't be permitted, in my opinion, probably. And so therefore Carlson was going not as a journalist as he claims, and as he claims to be, but as a propagandist, doing the same sort of thing he did at Fox News. Indeed, Fox News doesn't even claim to be a news channel, but it's an entertainment channel, and that it doesn't deal in facts but in entertainment. So that's what he was going there for. Of course, he no longer works for Fox. He was going there effectively. I presume he was paid to do it by someone. Now, Putin agreed because Putin would get a softball. He was interviewing somebody who more or less agreed with him anyway, and so therefore, as such, he would get a very soft ball, and that's what it was. It was somebody asking him to say, "What are your propaganda pieces here?" What Putin said, some of the things, Carlson just let them. I mean, the ridiculous claims that Putin made about the start of the Second World War, and it's beyond contempt. And of course, Carlson didn't even challenge him on anything like that. But I'm not going to actually deal with that. I'm not going to deal with the historical parts. I want to deal with some of the things which I saw, which I thought were totally ridiculous, such as his visit to the supermarket. Now, he wants to go and see how normal Russians live, and so he went to a hypermarket. That's a good place to start, in my opinion. And so first thing he did, though, he came, and I can't understand this at all. He came up to a trolley, and then he explained how the shopping market's trolley. He put 10 rubles into the trolley itself, and then he explained that you put the 10 rubles in, and that is, you get your 10 rubles back when you return the trolley, and so that way the supermarket or hypermarket keeps its trolleys and they don't end up in a homeless camp. In talking about the homeless camp, to me, I thought this was just a way of a jumped up so-and-so that he is insulting the homeless. Of course, he'll never find himself in this position because of the wealth he was born into. However, that be that as it may, what surprised me so much is this thing about putting coins into supermarkets, trolleys, is absolutely normal here in Europe. Now, I have been shopping in the United States. I used to go regularly to Costco in Goleta near Santa Barbara, And the thing is, I can't remember if I had to actually put any money in to get the trolley back. And so maybe somebody in the United States could answer this one for me. Do you actually put money in the trolley to to make sure you get your trolley back or that you put the trolley back once you're finished doing your shopping? It did also, of course, occur to me that perhaps Carlson is so wealthy that he doesn't do his own shopping. I'm sure that, for example, Rishi Sunak doesn't go down to the shops outside 10 Downing Street. He gets somebody to do it for him. Maybe Carlson has people doing his shopping for him. But there was yet another thing that you don't pay for shopping. You don't pay for trolleys in the US. You don't pay for them, Maria. It's a case of it's a deposit. You get your money back when you bring the trolley back. Anyway, the next thing, he goes up on a belt that's going upwards, and then what happens is you put the trolley onto the cart and it doesn't move, and he says, look, no hands. As again, that amazed him. Well, we've had them things here in Europe for at least 20 years that I can remember. I mean, I can remember the first time I did it, and I think, well, this is going to fall over back. It's going to be too heavy. It's going to come back on me. But it sort of clicks into place. And then you're thinking, when you're going up the thing, how am I going to get it off at the other end? But anyway, it goes off the other end without any problems. But the fact that he hadn't used one, I mean, that's not, it's the first time for everything. I thought maybe they just don't, you don't have them. But anyway, in airports as well, yes, that's a good point. I'm sure they have at airports and things like this. When I go shopping, actually, I don't carry a truck. I rarely, so I'm not sure that I don't, because I usually I don't go shopping in a car. And the thing is, this is people who use hypermarkets. Hypermarkets are designed on people with cars, and so they go shopping with your car for your weekly shop or whatever, and I tend to do it on a daily basis, and I don't take my vehicle anywhere. Having said that, I did take it this week, last week anyway. I'm now in London, but in last week in Germany, I did take my vehicle but it was only because I was out there anyway. I thought I'll go in there. Anyway, that apart, so Carlson went into a Russian supermarket. No, he didn't. He went into a French supermarket. Thing is, he's so stupid he couldn't even read the letters. Now, I don't expect him to actually be able to go and read or speak Russian, but I would expect him to be able to read the Cyrillic language or letters. It's not that difficult. Auchan is a multinational French corporation. They have in various places. Indeed, probably on the day of the invasion, I was in Auchan, which was where I was living at the time of 2 years ago today, in Rybnik in southern Poland. And I used to go to the Auchan there. It was the nearest hypermarket to where I was living. And again, I could walk there and I could do the shopping and come back. So effectively, I actually did the shopping. Anika's just, do I think that he actually, the Russians told him? No, I think he picked it by himself, because they certainly wouldn't have told him to actually go there. Anyway, so he went and he goes into Auchan, the French hypermarket in Moscow, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them in Moscow. I can't remember now exactly. And he went to the bread and he started sniffing the bread and saying how fresh it was. And I wondered, well, it should be. Auchan's got a bakery in every hypermarket I have ever been to on site. Now, it might not actually be a bakery as such. It may be just they get the half done. And to use the Russian word, what do you say in English? Anyway, then whatever the word is, half product. That's the Russian word. But anyway, never mind. And then they heat it up, and then they serve it. Yeah, sure, that's great. But now, one thing amazed him a great deal was the how much he actually paid for it. Now, I have lived in the United States and I have lived in Russia. So, I thought not recently, I need to point out. So, but in a short period of time, in a similar period of time, I can say this, that Russia is, I think, the most expensive country I have ever been to as far as foodstuffs are concerned. I think, I mean, Switzerland is maybe Switzerland, Switzerland or Russia, one of the two. Where I was staying, there was this market out the back, and I would go onto the market because I like markets and things of that nature. But I was occasionally asked to get some bread on my way back, and I remember getting this bread, which then cost 65 rubles, which was then approximately, what's that, €1.50 would be about $1.70 then. For something like that, certainly in Poland, it would have been much cheaper. By the time he gets to the end, and he's now singing the joys of being in Russia, how cheap it is. So he paid what he said $104, what he called a 1-week shop. Now, given his previous ignorance of how to do shopping, I presume that he wouldn't know what a 1-week shop would be. Would not be, but he paid $104 for it, and he seemed to think this was pretty brilliant. What he completely failed to accept. Now, it certainly was far cheaper, I would say, in the United States than in Russia. But in my opinion, but it's also very difficult. You've got to compare like to like. And one thing I always remember is the price, how much I pay for eggs. And despite the fact those eggs in Russia were much smaller, I would say in Poland I was paying approximately 60% of what I had to pay in Russia. I use that as an example. Anyway, so there was one day in Russia, in fact, I came back and I said to my then girlfriend that I thought I'd been done on the market, and I showed her what I'd bought. I bought this fruit, and it cost 500 rubles, and I paid for it. And she said, no, you got a really good deal there. They'd con me, but they wouldn't con you. And so to me, it's things like that, which of course, I mean, I can't compare there because the fruit, really, you've got to accept the fact it's going to be wildly different from one country to the next. Now, so what he's forgetting is that the wages that people actually earn. Now, he spent $104. Now, the minimum wage in Russia is 19,600 rubles, so it's approximately $200, more or less. $200. He's got a week's shop for 100. People have to live for 4 weeks, and some people have families, and some people have to pay more for more things. And now, okay, that's the minimum wage. So for a minimum wage person, that's going to be difficult. What about for a person? The average wage is approximately, I think it's 68,000 now. So from that point of view, 68,000, approximately $700. Now, bear in mind, there are people who are earning 700,000 a week or more in Russia. So that, because of the difference between the very wealthy and the mass, there is a sort of a middle class as such, but you don't see the huge differences that you get here in Western Europe as you get in Russia in wealth. I'm not suggesting there aren't wealthy people here, of course, but it's not as visible as it is there. And anyway, so a person, an average person who's got that beef, it might have, if there's two of them, a couple, and only one's working, then yeah, sure, that might just pay, provided they don't have too much else to actually pay for. And the thing here is that he's got no concept of how normal people live. So if you're super wealthy, then that's okay. But if you're not, you're not. Now, there's another thing which hypermarkets have actually, and it's not just in, this is everywhere, is what they've done is that hypermarkets have brought the cost down of food because of the transport infrastructure and everything else that they can put in. But what this has done, it's made the very poor poorer. So if you're an older person and you can't get out, you don't have access to a car, then you still have to use the you have to eat. So you use the corner shops and things like this, and the corner shops are dreadfully expensive. They have to be dreadfully expensive because the big hypermarkets have taken most of their business away from them. So if you run out to get some milk or something, as for example, where I'm here now, the closest one is the corner shop, but the milk will cost at least double what it cost if I go down to Sainsbury's, which is a little bit further. Obviously, I go to Sainsbury's, but there are those people who can't manage it, and so in Russia, where you've got pensioners who may be on much less money, it's much harder. For example, today there's a channel on YouTube by a young gentleman called Daniel. He goes on interviewing Russians, and he puts a translation in. Oh, sorry, there's my thing falling over. What's happened here? You know why it's fallen over? Because I've got sorry, I might have to hold. Oh no, it's holding itself. Well done. I've got a problem here because I'm in there. As you see, I'm indoors, and I've got my computer attached to the telephone, which is now in the gimbal, and there's a cable coming up. That's why it sort of fell over just now. Anyway, this Daniel, the channel's called, I think it's 1428. I think that's the number. It's a number. Anyway, so he interviewed. I saw it today, this morning. It was a lady he was interviewing, a pensioner, and she said that she has $100 a month, and I think it was 60% of that goes on the pharmacy, the medicines. 1420, thank you. So the medicines that she needs now, and now the medicines I can only compare because I got ill in Russia, and I mean it's a bit unfairly because maybe I don't know where to shop for such things, but it seemed to me to be more expensive than it would be, for example, in Poland or in the UK. But if a person's in that condition, and that person's got $40 for everything else other than medicine. So the house needs payment, the gas, the water, the electricity, all of that. Daniel Oren, is it okay? And all of that needs paying. Where's the money coming from that? Now, there are some things in Russia which are a lot cheaper than here. And for example, fuel is one. If you go to a fuel filling station for diesel, you'll pay even less than it is in the United States, and for petrol it's roughly the same price as in the United States. Of course, in the US it's half the price more or less as we have here. Last week I paid €1.60 for a litre of diesel, and I got it cheap because I went to a hypermarket. But in Germany, I saw yesterday was almost €2 for a litre of diesel in Baden-Baden. I think it's something similar, the cost here in the United Kingdom for diesel. So in Russia, it's really cheap. Oh, it's falling over again. Okay, right. And I might have to hold this like that in my hand. And sorry. Oh, there we go. I'll put it up a bit. There we go. So this is something obviously that Tucker could have considered. You won't say how good it was. Next thing is accommodation. Now, if you're one of these people who's lucky enough to have actually got your own flat, and you got it when it was privatized, then the cost of the upkeep is lower. I mean, energy costs are lower and things of that nature. But if you have to rent a place in Moscow, it is dreadfully expensive. But I think that the older people, the workers and all the rest of it, probably theirs is down a bit. Now, another thing that Tucker found really amazing was how beautiful it is in Russia, and he compared the underground system, the metro, Right, okay, I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have to pull this out of here to stop this constantly happening. I could actually put it on. Uh, there we go. There we go. It's off. So I can't see your messages now on my computer. So the he's really impressed by it. And apparently, he got on the underground, the metro, and he said it doesn't smell. There's no graffiti, and it's true. The underground system is incredible. Okay. Oh, somebody he sees 400 euros. Sorry, a month for one bedroom flat. That doesn't seem too bad actually. That seems pretty good by Moscow standards. Maybe the prices have got cheaper since I was there. The metro is outstanding. Indeed, on my other channel, well, so I've got several channels, but on my the main channel, the Alan Heath channel, I have a playlist on the Moscow's metro stations. These were built in the Stalin era, from the 1930s, but even some of the more modern ones, Ploshad, what do you call it? Where the museums are. That was built after the end of socialism. Even that's really attractive. And yeah, there's very little graffiti. As for the smell, presumably that in New York people are using it for a subway, using it as a urinal. Actually, yeah, he said something about this, the urinal, and maybe. Yeah, I didn't feel that, but what you do get there in Moscow is, which in 2009, in a short period of time, actually in a 3-month period, I was on the underground systems, the metro systems in Petersburg, Moscow, Madrid, Paris, and London. So I got a good view in a short period of time. And there is this one thing, whereas, for example, in Spain, you can be walking, in Madrid, you can be walking through these long tunnels and there's no one around. In Moscow, there's this massive humanity that comes through. Because I was actually standing on the thing and just watching it from the place when everybody got off. And then you've got this brief moment, there's nobody, then suddenly a pile of people come in. Now, I'm not talking here at rush hour, but this was, for example, on a Sunday evening. These things like this could actually take place. So it certainly does move a lot of people in it. Nothing is on the escalators, the people would stand like 2 steps between each other, and I did the 1 step, and then my then partner had a go at me for taking other people's space when I was trying to be practical, when there was a herd of people at the top of the stairs trying to get down. So so on that case, actually, I can the underground system, and it's cheap as well. It's much cheaper. The one here, it costs a fortune. Anyway, so on the case of this, I wonder though, is it his admiration for the Stalinist system, or is it something else? The city, he was very impressed by how well it looked as well. And yeah, it's true. Moscow for me is, I don't know what my favorite city is, but I think one of them would have to be Moscow. One of them, anyway. It really is. I feel so excited. Well, I don't suppose I'll be going there again, but I used to forget. I'd get so excited being there. But it's a very hard place as well. A friend of mine who got a job there, he didn't take his family there because he said he could because of the way it is. I'll give you examples. It's so there's somebody put some scaffolding outside the building, and whilst there's people working on the scaffolding, there's still people going in and out under it whilst work's going on. Now everywhere else I know it's always taped off, and so it's a hard place. In Moscow as well, you get these extremes of temperature. For example, you can be on the underground, it's like maybe 30 degrees in it, and then you go up and it's minus 30 outside. So you've got a 60-degree difference. And what I used to do was I'd put paper around my shirt here, because my shirts get really wet, the collars. And so the paper might look too, but it sort of absorbed a bit of the sweat as I was down there. But he's comparing Moscow, how wonderful it looks, to places in the United States, which I mean, you can't really compare it to many places, or when you compare it to Los Angeles or New York. And New York, maybe for him, he'd rather be in Moscow. one thing about Moscow, though, is that in this, like in Paris, the center, inside the Boulevard Périphérique, it's really the road that runs around it. It's really very attractive, but you go through the outside, it is really dull and dismal, except for Versailles. And Moscow's a bit like that as well. You've got these huge socialist era housing blocks. I mean, of course, people had to live somewhere, and so from that point of view, I would grant that that's a good thing. So when he's talking about how wonderful it is, my question is, why isn't if it's so wonderful there, why doesn't he go and live there? I mean, that's what I did. I decided to go and live in other countries. There's nothing to stop him doing it. If the United States is so bad and he hates the United States so much, why doesn't he go and live in Russia? What's to stop him doing it? There's hundreds of thousands of Russian men who've left. Why doesn't he go and live there and support Putin and do his best for the system which he finds so wonderful? Anyway, that's my take on it. Let's have a look at some of the things you've written, and also I'll start off my computer because I can actually see that much easier. So hello, and so in Canada you actually pay for the not you make a deposit for your supermarket trolley, and so in the United States there are carts in the US in the airports. So do you put, but in the carts at the airports, I think they're free, aren't they? I think I no deposits are made. I think. Oh, sorry. A grocery store shopping cart is a trolley. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Right. I might have said trolley now, and there's the word in American. And so here's a good one from the past. They used to use plastic tubs, and a guy would load your cart after shopping back in the 1980s. I've seen that in films. Here in Europe, I've never seen that, anybody loading the car up for you. Right, so Annika asks, oh sorry, did Russia tell Tucker where to film? Well, I don't think so. Actually, if it was somebody who told them where to film, then I think that could have been done by a bit of a resistant or something like that. Somebody who doesn't like Putin, but does it in such a way as to cause embarrassment to the system. So Maria says, in Texas we're fortunate, but it still has gone up considerably. Okay. Okay, so Eartha says that Russia's it's not the same expensive country as it was in 2015. Well, I don't know. Is it? I bet it's more expensive. Aaron says that Tucker's an American treasure. Yeah, he's one of these treasures that you throw away, I think. And all right, sorry, I'll have to look at the comments. And yeah, right, sorry. Okay, so Annie says 2010 person my work was sent to work in Moscow and the rent was $12,000 a month. Wow. Mind you, that's he was probably one of the executives, so I think you'd get that anywhere, to be quite honest. I suspect. I mean, $12,000, what, £10,000? Oh, that sounds a bit. Okay, so Eartha said 400 euros in one bedroom flat, South Moscow on Metro Pozhskaya. Okay, I don't know where it is. Actually, can't remember. And okay, so Christopher says $400 a month. You pay that in Timisoara. Really? And so Eartha says there's a lot of sympathy for the West from Russians, but not all. Yeah. The thing about this is the support for in Russia. I've got to say this, that most of Putin is popular. I don't doubt that. He has his popularity, but who supports him? Well, it's the same as some other character I was talking about the other day. The people who support him are largely it's the uneducated and the poor who, I mean, I can say amongst people I know, I don't think anybody would support him. I don't think so. And sorry, not true. True. I think of people who are totally brainwashed by the fascist propaganda, whom I know. But on the whole, not many people, I think. Right. Oh, sorry. This is why I plugged it into the computer, because then I can see what's going on better. So anyway, so Tucker wants to make America great again. Well, I think yeah, because he certainly hates it at the moment. Oh, so the Irish Megaphone says the ridiculous mischaracterization of Carlson, very petty. Alan, okay. Tucker and Vlad are both rebelling against the man. They are scratching each other's backs for various, ulterior reasons. And yeah, okay. All financially motivated. I think that Tucker Carlson could have been angling for the support from financial support from them. And so Neela writes, Tucker lost my respect when he blamed what happened in the Great Freeze in Texas on green energy. Yeah, quite. I've noticed that this, though, is one of the talking points of the alt-right, the those who believe in conspiracy theories, is that one thing they're against it, they want to go back to the past. But this is a lots of people have thought they get to a certain age and they think, oh, it was used to be all better. And now when there was we all worked down coal mines and things of that nature. It used to be. I mean, I know people I went to school with. I see them on Facebook comments and all the rest of it. And I remember when I was a teenager and was getting about the music today, it all sounds the same. I admit that the music, which I think is today's music, all sounds the same to me. But I don't go around saying this to younger people. And yeah, so I like the music from the 1980s, but that represents my age. So. Anyway, but I do appreciate technology. I think the problem is the following, and I think this is why, I mean, when I was speaking about NATO the other day and Trump, I think the problem is their war on what they called wokeism. I tried to find out where this word actually comes from, and I believe that the word woke, somebody might correct me on this because I might be completely wrong, but I think it comes from black populations in the south of the United States, and I think I'm not certain what it means. This is the problem, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that one. And but their idea of woke, a person who's woke is a person who believes in equal opportunities for everybody, irrespective of who they are, and it doesn't believe that the one certain group, which is normally the Anglo-Saxon white men, should have privileges which aren't available to everybody. It doesn't believe in people have disabilities of one type or another. I think it's that they should have things like handicapped areas and things of that nature. And okay, I might be different wrong. Woke, okay. So yes, it's used, so instead of saying I believe in equal opportunities, you can say now I am woke. So that's what I am. I'm certainly, by their standards, I'm woke. I don't believe that I am superior to another person because I'm a certain particular color skin, or I have a certain religion, or I have a certain whatever it may be. What they want is prayers and schools to their God, and that everybody knows their place. And that's what it is. Okay. I've got David's here. Woke is to be aware that the area is not safe, no blacks. Yes, okay, that could be part of it. Woke from 1960. Oh, here's a good one. Woke from 1960s is much different, nothing to do with reptilians. So what did it mean in the 1960s then? That is the question. If anybody knows, write it down. One of the things actually came out in trials was, or even arguments about historical things, what the word meant at the time. And so the thing is, for example, when we're talking about what Hitler knew, it's to get a dictionary from the time, because words do change their meaning. And the example everybody gives is the word gay. And so I could say I was gay 80 years ago, possibly, but I can't say it today. That's because I'm feeling quite happy. That's the number one use of the word. But there's lots of other things where the meaning has changed. But that's the way languages are. They evolve. I see things when Google puts things up. It says yep or nope. And I think no, the words yes or no. It's not nope. But anyway, if that's how the language is going to evolve, then that is the way we need to recognize it. Sorry, all right, okay, right. So I'm on the right path, says Annika. Woke is hard to define that everyone can agree on. Yeah, so this is something. Now, Hugh writes that Marx was woke. You know what I was thinking was the Capital came out. It was the anniversary of Capital's first appearance. I think it was the 21st of February. I think it was, and I have read Capital. It's nonsensical. So it's a complete failure to understand economics, and lots of people say about Marx that Marx. The idea is great, just the implementation doesn't. But the idea itself doesn't make any sense. I mean, I can agree with certain things. I can agree with the fact that a person who actually makes wealth will take a larger chunk of it for him or herself than the people who are doing the work for him. But that person's taking all the risks, and without that person taking those risks, then these other people wouldn't have wealth. I mean, use that as a very clear example. Anyway, sorry, I'm coming off the point there. So that was the point of Marx being woke. My whole family's woke. Is exactly by this definition you're providing. Good, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Critical race theory is hard truth, says Neela. I don't even know what critical race theory is. I think it's one of these talking points. One of the things you often get people complaining about is complaining about their country and this type of thing. So this is the thing now. We've just seen how Tucker Carlson attacks the United States, but I'm not suggesting he does this. I don't know. But when people sort of attack slavery or something like that in the United States, now they're complaining that this is putting down the United States. And okay, the United States hung on to slavery longer than any other country. I mean, but this is seen as, for the alt-right, as being something which, oh no, you shouldn't talk about it. I mean, okay, but it's as though they want to change history. And I mean, having said that, sometimes I saw Nikki Haley was asked about what was the reason for this civil war. Now, what her answer should have been was, oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm not a historian, so I don't really want to go into it. That's what she should have said. I don't really know. If somebody asked me about how does a nuclear power plant work, I would say, well, I'm not the right person to ask. You ask somebody who deals with it. But actually, I don't believe that the Civil War in the United States was about slavery. I don't think. I think it was an important consideration, but I don't think it was just about that. Anyway, that apart, states' rights and all the rest of it. Good. Sorry. Okay. Frankfurt School hypercritical woke theory. I'm sorry, I don't know that. Woke was PC 10 years ago. There's a good one. It was PC. Now, I'm probably going over the top of this because I try to say things to avoid the sexual use of language. Sexual use, I mean by that he or she or it, and so I won't refer to things. I refer to gender neutral words. I say a letter carrier, not a postman, and I do this in my normal life as well. I mean, there's one or two things. There's no female equivalent. I can't think of one off the top of my head now. A pitman, for example. There you go, a miner, and a pit woman. I've never heard of something doing that. Any females down, I'm sure there are. But I think it's important to be PC because that, from that point of view, but all the same. Having said that, I mean, some jokes have to be nationalist, not nationalist, but nationally based, because otherwise they don't work. And so anyway, anyway, you can see that in what I do. Okay. Okay. Neela is in Brazil. Oh, I didn't know you were in Brazil. I assumed you were in the United States. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I've got my I said my point there. I obviously despite my friend there from Ireland saying that I've given I've said what I said about Tucker Carlson. I've misrepresented him. One thing that's happened to me in recent years is that my class prejudices have actually come back from being a person who thought that, well, we've gone beyond that, so it also, I think I've sort of how shall I put it? I've sort of moved from one class to another, if you look at it that way. But it's these characters like him who trying to reach out to workers, and this sort of cheeses me off a bit. Anyway, that's how I see it. It was Brexit that did this largely to me, I think. All right, sorry. Anyway, yeah. So the PC New Age fascists all agree that they know best for you and me. I'm in Texas, but I'm Brazilian. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thanks for the stream, says Eartha. Good evening, one and all. Alan, thank you, Neela. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Tomorrow, I'm going to try and do. I'm in the UK because my mother's in hospital actually, and it was so that thanks for a fun chat. So anyway, to be doing this actually, it makes it quite interesting. I'm not certain what I'm going to do. I might do something on the beer hall putsch, because on the 24th of February it will be the 100th anniversary, the centenary of the Hitler trial coming up, starting. And so it started on that date and it went on until the 1st of April. And so I think I might do something on the beer hall putsch. And I also think the beer hall putsch is very highly relevant to current events in the United States. So I'll do that. So anyway, thank you. All the best. Thank you, Annika. Thank you. All the best. Bye for now. How do I turn it off? Oh, it's up here.